Hey everyone, welcome back to 996. The Howl Utah Mammoth win 5-3 against the Seattle Kraken. Before we get into the video, an hour before puck drop, Quinn Hughes enters the Central Division. If the Avalanche and the Dallas Stars weren't elite juggernauts enough, why not send Hughes for possibly 8 more years, 9 more years? If he signs an extension, he has a year and a half left in his current contract. If Minnesota doesn't sign an extension, what a blunder that would be. But I fully expect the USA Olympic American GM will sign a top level elite talent in Quinn Hughes for the long term against the Utah Mammoth. They gotta step it up, and that's for another time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's actually just try to make the playoffs. And Maverick Lamoureux gets sent down to Tucson. Olimata is healthy and draws into the lineup. I like what Lamoureux brought to the blue line. More mobile, more offensive flair to that blue line. I liked it, but objectively, he didn't knock the door down. When you get called up from the American Hockey League, you got to make sure, you got to force the coaches to not send you down, and I don't think he did that. He looked good, he looked fine, but not enough to really cement himself as a permanent NHLer. We've seen players do it like Gunther, Josh Stone. I've seen Carconi do it. I've seen Connor Garland do it. Michael Bunting do it, where they get called up for that one chance and they never look back. They just get better and better each game and produce and get results. So Lamoureux, just for me, I thought he was fine. Just, you got to get goals, you got to get assists, you got to make an impact on the game. We see Daniel Booth sort of making impacts on the game. He's always around the net, always around generating chances. He needs to get results sooner rather than later, and I think he will the way he's playing. So let's actually get into the game. No events for the first 5 minutes of the game, not even low event. I mean, this was a stark difference from the start against the Florida Panthers. Utah didn't even look speedy. They weren't playing with pace. They didn't have a lot of energy. They looked like they're kind of stuck in molasses in this first period. There are some nice looks by Petrarca and Gunther. Pucks on their sticks. They wind up for a shot, but good shot blocking by the Seattle Kraken. Those shots do not get through, but if they did, those would be grade A dangerous chances. There's a nice Yamamoto to Hayden chance in the slot right near the crease, and the Seattle goaltender makes a huge save. You got to put that puck in the net if you're Barrett Hayden. Like, enough is enough. That's a prime opportunity. The puck's on your stick in the slot. It's puck in net time. That's what you got to do, and he didn't do it. Then there's a rare defense to defense play. Sean Durzi behind the net finds Sergachev at the high slot. A one-timer gets denied by Grubauer. Utah does get a power play near the end of the first period. They don't look too great on it. They don't score on it. So we head into the second period tied 0-0. Utah outshot Seattle 11-9. They did look fine in the first, but they needed to be better if you were going to win. And this was pretty much a must win for the playoffs. If we're still talking about playoffs, it needed to be a regulation win. Seattle's biting at the heels of Utah before this game, and they had 4 games in hand over Utah. So they needed a regulation game win to increase that gap between the Mammoth and the Kraken. There's a bunch of teams battling for that last wild card spot. It seems like Edmonton will go on and take away either the first wild card spot or go in top 3 in the Pacific. And then, LA or Anaheim will probably drop down to the first wild card. So that second wild card spot, it's teams like Utah, the Sharks, Chicago, St. Louis, even Winnipeg's. They're still, Hellebuck's out for a long-term injury. So hopefully Utah takes advantage of that. That's a nice way to word it. So we go into the second period, and Seattle comes out of the gate flying, better than Utah. They were dangerous. They got a lot of chances early in the second period. There was a really dangerous slot chance by Seattle off a turnover because a clearing attempt hits a ref's skate, and Seattle takes advantage, and they get a nice chance in front of Vemelka. And then they continue to press, and they finally get the first goal of the game. Seattle walks through Sean Durzi, just totally walks Durzi, making Durzi look like a forward on that play, generates his own breakaway, and dekes out Vemelka. There's a lot of bad mistakes by a lot of players from the neutral zone. And then on that blue line, both Keller and Durzi just not defending properly. and the Seattle player taking advantage and able to just speed his way through both of those players. And then we go on 4-on-4 after that goal, and it seemed like it was a Seattle power play. Seattle was the much better team on this full 2-minute 4-on-4, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, it's 4-on-4. It's not a power play for either team. Both teams should be trading chances, a lot more space on the ice, a lot more speed, but it seemed like Seattle was getting rush chance after rush chance on the 4-on-4. They don't score, and that's pivotal because after this 4-on-4, Utah finally comes to play, starts controlling play, and starts to dictate play, and this is all generated by the third line of McBain, Carcone, and Boot. Like, Carcone was the best player up until this point in the game, and I literally wrote down, why is Carcone our best player? Even in the Florida game, he looked great. He was like one of our best players, besides Gunther obviously scoring 2 goals. But, you know, is it a bad sign that Carcone is our best player? Like, shouldn't our best players be our best players? And thankfully, at the end of the game, our best players were our best players. We'll get to that later. But great job by the third line. Whenever they're on the ice, it seems like the puck's in the offensive zone. They're generating chances or throwing the puck to the net. A lot of chaos around the net. That's what you like to see, because then other lines build on that momentum. And that's what happened. The first line comes out. Nick Schmaltz pickpockets a Seattle player at the defensive blue line and creates his own breakaway with his speed, does a nice deke and puts it high over the goaltender to make it 1-1. After that, a fourth line, full sustained ozone shift. So it was like waves and waves of Utah pressure. There was an odd against momentum 2-on-1 for Seattle, but they can't connect and they miss the net. The puck goes the other way, and Peterka hits the post off another nice shot. He beats the goaltender, but can't beat the post. And then Utah scores to make it 2-1. It's a fourth line, Yamamoto from O'Brien and Stenlund. They actually wave this goal off immediately for goaltender interference. They have to review this, and the Seattle defenseman initiates contact with his own goaltender, and that causes the goaltender to sort of lose balance or get discombobulated. And then the blocker and the stick of the goalie gets stuck on O'Brien's leg, but O'Brien is outside of the crease. And it didn't seem like O'Brien's intention was to hit the goalie. Like, his back was to the goalie. He wasn't even like staring at the goalie at all on this play. He was just getting to the front of the net. So I think that initial contact of his own defenseman caused the goaltender to get into a position where he gets stuck on O'Brien's leg, and he's very slow to go across the ice, and Yamamoto has an open net. So that's my opinion why they called it. But you never know. I wouldn't have been surprised if they called it back. I would be frustrated, but there is contact with the goalie between O'Brien and the goalie. But, you know, thankfully they got it right. That only happened because of his own player knocks him into O'Brien, basically. So after making it 2-1, there was a Seattle 3-on-1 after the goal, but they can't make the play. I don't like to see that after you score. I don't like seeing other teams having a grade A chance. Like, you should play in the offensive zone after a goal. It was a seesaw battle at the end of the second period. Both teams just attacking, trading chances, but Utah goes into the third period up 2-1. They're outshot 16 to 13. That's a lot of big numbers, a lot of shots in that second period. So going to the third period, Utah comes out better than they did in the second and the first, just consistent shifts in the offensive end. They look good to start the third, and then the penalty trouble starts to occur. They commit a penalty 5 minutes into the third, and on the penalty kill, they commit another penalty really early, puck over the glass. So they're on a 5-on-3 for 1:42. And Vejmelka has save after save sequence, and Vejmelka just basically kept the team in the game. I was clenching my butt throughout this whole 5-on-3. The full power play was in Utah's defensive zone, and it looked like Seattle was going to capitalize on this glorious chance, and thankfully they don't. But right when the Utah player comes on the ice, Seattle actually does tie it to make it 2-2. It's a cross-ice one-timer when they're 5-on-5. So you feel elated that Utah's able to kill off the penalty, but right when it expires, Seattle does eventually score. After making it 2-2, there's a Peterka to Schmaltz 2-on-1, and Schmaltz does get his stick on the puck, but he's too close to the net, too far into the net, that the puck just hits the side of the net and not into the empty net. The goalie was beat on that play as well. But the first line draws a penalty and they go on a power play late in the third and they score the not game-winning goal, but not technically, but actually the game-winning goal. It's Dylan Guenther, a patented one-timer from Schmaltz and Sergachev. We saw this play against Florida where Schmaltz looks like he's actually going to shoot the puck until the very last second where he dishes it off. In the Florida game, it was to Keller, that cross-ice one-timer with that unbelievable save by Bobrovsky. And in this one, I saw Guenther open, like really early when Schmaltz gets control and possession of the puck, but he doesn't immediately pass to Schmaltz. He actually skates to the slot area looking to shoot and actually winds up for a shot, but literally the last possible second dishes it off to Schmaltz, fools everybody, and Guenther with the one-timer scores to make it 3-2. A huge goal by Guenther. That's 3 games in a row for goals for Guenther, and that's 4 goals in the past 3 games. With Cooley's injury, I said the top 6 need to elevate their games. They need to be better consistently. So that's Guenther, Schmaltz, Peterka, and Keller. So I'm liking how Guenther's responding. Schmaltz had a great game against Seattle with 3 points. Need a little bit more from Keller and Peterka, more consistent, and a lot more from Barrett Hayden. Like actually a lot more production from Hayden. So it's 3-2 Utah. And they go out back on the penalty kill, and a really important kill here, and not a penalty power play that looked dangerous at all for Seattle. Utah executed a lot of clears, iced the puck a lot. It wasn't any sustained pressure by Seattle on this power play. Considering their past power plays in this game, they were all over it, like full power plays in Utah's own end. So that's a huge kill by Utah. The special teams really came through in this game. And after killing the penalty, they scored 2 empty net goals to make it 5-2. And then a really late 1 minute left in the game goal to make it 5-3. Seattle scored. But the Peterka empty net goal, the first one, I mean, on the stat sheet, you might look at it, oh, empty net goal, what a empty net merchant. This guy skates, he takes a puck from his own defensive end and just skates through the whole Seattle team, taking the puck to the net. He actually gets tripped. There's like so much pressure on him, and he just manages to take the puck to the hole. That's a great empty net goal. A lot of great effort. I love to see that by Peterka, to use his speed and not just lob it from the neutral zone into an empty net, just skate the puck to the net, not only for a scoring chance, but just to alleviate pressure and kill precious time on the clock by just taking the puck and skating it all the way to the other end instead of just dumping it. And then Krause gets the second empty netter to make it 5-2. And then, like I said, Seattle scores, make it 5-3. Shots, 36 Seattle, 32 for Utah, but 5-on-5 shots were even, 25-25. Utah pretty much really undisciplined in this game, taking 4 penalties, but they kill off all 4 penalties. This is a game where your special teams come through, they get you those 2 points, they score on the power play finally. That's what I'm talking. I've been talking about this for the first 33 games of this season. If you have a competent average power play, it will win you games. And this is a prime example where you score a power play goal in a tie game in the third and you just win the game. Like, that's what the power play is for. You got to be good 5-on-5 and then just get that extra little bump from a power play goal, and that's how you win games. And that's exactly what happened. They go 1 for 2 on the power play, faceoffs 48%. They go back on the road. It's a short Eastern road trip, Pittsburgh Sunday, and then a back-to-back Boston, Detroit Tuesday and Wednesday. My expectations, try to go 1-1-1. They will probably go 1 for 2. It would be great if they won all 3. And please don't lose all 3. If you lose all 3, like, what are we doing here? Like, you got this big regulation win at home. You should have won a little bit more at home against LA or Florida. So go on the road, maintain this play, and you got to scrap for these points. Do whatever it takes. We should see Vanacek in maybe 2 or just 1 of these games for sure during the back-to-backs. But maybe they give Vemelka a little bit of rest Sunday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's all about the details in the game. The broadcast likes to say the margins. I mean, this game could have went sort of either way. A tie game in the third, a lot of mistakes. Committing 3 penalties in the third period is never a recipe for success. They committed 2 penalties in the third against Florida. That didn't bite them in the behind either, but you can't be taking a lot of penalties in the third. Like they went pretty much the whole game with, they had a penalty early in the first and then nothing until the third period. Like, I don't know why Utah's committing penalties in the third. They're under pressure. They're tightening their sticks a lot more, making mistakes. But you got to stay within those margins, play the right way, and don't get flustered and undisciplined, because that could have lost you the game here. And without Vejmelka's huge sequence of saves on that 5-on-3, I think this game really possibly could have turned into a loss. But thankfully, their goaltender played good, played well, played above average, and their top players that needed to be better did play better and got them the win. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. If you're feeling generous, consider a super chat. And as always, thank you for your support.